Yo, bitches, what's going on?
Hello, everyone. It's Golden Talkies time.
What's the Golden Talkies, Jamie?
It's a podcast where we talk about films that came out exactly 50 years ago today, or this
This
week,
week,
sorry.
yesterday, in this
Yeah.
case. What film are we watching today?
It's 1970s Cromwell, starring Richard Harris and Alec McGuinness. Or
Alec
Alec Guinness.
Alec McGuinness. That's
Alec
right.
Regular Guinness.
Um, how are you? I'm in quite a rushed. This is gonna be quite a rushed episode, isn't it? We
This
think
is this is the first mini-sode, I've decided.
it could be.
So
So I'm the
we're
reason that
going to
we're
shoot for
rushing
half an
it.
hour.
The reason that we're rushing it is I'm off. I'm off next week. There's no podcast next week, and we felt that we need to do
Yeah,
one
it's
this
very
week.
sad.
But we've ended up being quite busy today. But it's fine. Don't
Yeah.
worry because we're still going to be here for a podcast, and it's going to be great. But
Yep.
also my notes are almost entirely handwritten, which it has
Yes.
been for the last few weeks.
My pen broke, so I have no
You
notes.
have no notes. Okay, so it's really going to be
None.
an interesting one for all of you
Memory
here.
alone, baby.
So
I think you should probably do the plot summary this week.
hopefully this is not your first episode because it could be the worst yet, or it could not be.
On the other hand, only ways up. Our other episodes are better.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we've just started this one, Jamie. Who knows?
I think we've already know where this one's going.
So yeah, as you said, this week we're watching Cromwell. Um,
Yeah.
do you want to know?
Film sucks dick.
Do you want to know an
What's-
interesting fact?
Yes.
So as you know, for historical context, I use TakeMeBack.to,
Mhm.
our sponsor, not our sponsor, but if they want to sponsor us, come ahead. It's a website that you put in a date and it gives you stuff for that day. So it has the magazine covers and stuff, but it also
Mhm.
always has films on it. But I
Yeah.
never mention the films because obviously this whole podcast is about watching films, and the ones that
Yeah.
they have never seem to line up. But this is the first week where the film that we've watched has been on TakeMeBack.to as a film that was popular this week.
Wow. Wasn't it a massive financial failure?
I don't know, but it was there. It was there.
Cool.
I don't know. Was it a financial failure? Is that true?
I think so. I
Well,
believe
it
so.
seemed like something that'd be very
It
expensive to
certainly
make.
looked fucking expensive.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, fuck. Every time I type Cromwell into Google, it just comes up with the dude
yeah.
rather than the film.
So, just for context, Cromwell is a historical drama film, very much of the genre of those films that cost $20 billion to make and bankrupted everyone who was involved with it.
Eight
But
eight
this other
million
one
it cost.
worked out. Yep.
There you go.
There we go. Sorry, my computer fucked up. Uh, well,
What?
so-
Are you okay, man?
Yeah.
Okay.
My computer died. It was horrible.
Oh.
We'll hold a tasteful funeral for it later.
Cool. Oh, I
Uh,
should be. Wait, let me get my phone recording as well as a backup here.
Oh no, I'm completely wrong. Sorry, it was apparently one of the most popular movies at the 1970s.
Yeah, it didn't seem bad.
But
Um,
it received unfavorable reception, critical reception, I should say.
Okay. Right, I'm recording my phone now as well. So if for some reason my laptop,
Mhm.
not my laptop, my PC crashes, then I guess this is where we'll be starting.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cromwell. So yeah, I think it was a popular one. I mean, the fact that it's on
Guess people watched
TakeMeBack.to
it.
suggests that it is.
It just, So Cromwell, to save time, we won't do too big a synopsis. You all know who Oliver Cromwell is, or you should. English Civil War. It happens. Charles is the tyrant. Oliver Cromwell, he's here to take him down a peg. Hooray!
Sure.
That's the film.
Yep. Thanks for listening
Yeah.
to this week's podcast.
It's good that I get. I feel I got a great talent for getting to the very essence of the story.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess we don't have to go through it plot point by
Well,
plot point, do we?
it's super long as well. Yeah. Okay. So Oliver Cromwell, he's dissatisfied with what the king's doing. He's disbanded Parliament for 12 years.
Yeah,
He's very upset about this fact because he is a parliamentarian.
he is.
And he rumblings of civil war, and he's like, no. I can't do his accent. No proper Englishman would ever raise arms against the king. It's very. I disagree with what you say, but I'll defend to the death your right to say it. You know.
Right.
He's like, I hate the king, but I'd lay down my life for his honor.
Yeah.
But then he goes to church and he sees that there's gold in it. The king's become a fucking Catholic.
He has.
Spelled Cathlick. He's become a Catholic sympathizer. This is disgusting to Cromwell and his Puritan beliefs. He's a big Protestant. The
He is.
Reformation not
He
happening,
is
he
a
says,
big. He is a big Protestant, big time.
as he throws a tantrum and chucks everything in the church everywhere.
Yeah.
Um, this film very down on Catholics in a way that I realize is trying to be loyal for the time, but doesn't come across super well, at least to me.
Yeah. I mean,
You don't pick it up?
you think?
Like,
I guess at the time it came out, that was probably a pretty major theme as
well,
well, right?
I was about to say, I think even at the time, like the main anti-Catholic thing is to show that the king is betraying his morals because he's
Yeah.
supposed to be a Protestant, but he's conferring in with the Catholics, so it's supposed to be like he has one job and he's not doing it. But the way it comes across in the film is that like Oliver will say things like, "I will not rest until every Catholic is dead and buried," and the film's like, "Yeah, go Oliver."
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I mean, Oliver Cromwell is a pretty
Not got a
extreme.
great, didn't have a good track record in real life. We should also say.
Yeah, he's
Uh,
a pretty extreme, like Protestant. There is no
yeah.
other correct
So,
way. Everyone else is a
'cause,
bastard.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like, and the
Killed a
film.
lot of Irish people.
Yeah,
Um,
and the do you know the bit of trivia about that? The guy that was
no.
playing Cromwell is Irish.
I was going to say Richard Harris was like, I don't want to say a fan, but he had said IRA sympathetic things before. So I was
Yeah,
wondering how he's playing
he's a fierce Irish
Oliver
nationalist.
Cromwell of all people.
So I've got a quote here for him. It says that he saw past the historical circumstances and became intrigued with Cromwell as a symbol of integrity, anxious to reform society, and he insisted it wasn't necessary for an actor to strictly believe in the character he was playing. Instead, he drew inspiration from Cromwell's idealistic nature, his goal to take the country out of aristocratic hands, and his rigorous self-discipline, a trait he admired. That's from IMDb. So,
That to me sounds suspiciously like damage control and interview.
yeah, I mean, I guess there's a...
I mean, I agree that like an actor obviously doesn't have to sympathise with the characters they play. But this is a very positive portrayal of Cromwell in this film, which I think is really weird because he's not remembered that
Well,
positively.
it is, but I feel like it's also quite sympathetic to the king at points.
Yeah,
I don't think it really
basically.
takes. I don't think it takes a side. I think it's more just that you see who
No, no.
wins. No, it does kind of take. I mean,
No,
it's about Cromwell. That's the
it,
point, right?
it's firmly on Cromwell's side. I would say.
That is who the
Like
film's
it,
about. But what?
it gives the king his time on the podium.
Yeah, that's what
But
I
it's
mean. That's what I mean. It's not like it's just purely, um, like
but it's just
pro Cromwell. The king is absolutely horrible. It does show
yeah.
the sides of them. But yeah, you are right. It is
I
definitely
just maybe
pro
you feel
Cromwell.
differently, but I feel the general sort of narrative angle that most people take in British history is that Oliver Cromwell was kind of in the wrong because he sucked,
Yeah,
and like consider like Charles either good but ineffective or like completely innocent. Charles the First, when we talk about him, is like Oliver Cromwell had to come along and ruin everything
yeah.
by making him Puritan, and like I mean when you think about it, actually maybe it is a good thing to overthrow kings. But I don't think history
Well, I mean,
remembers Cromwell.
I disagree with that, as you know.
Okay,
But
Duncan, as we know, is a cuck.
but
But
I think you're right. Um, I think that the side that they're showing is the lead up to. Although even at the end, because what I was going to say is, they're not showing the sort of Puritan stuff that happened afterwards. They're just showing the
yeah,
lead up to him getting rid of the king. But then there's the weird narration at the end where it's like Cromwell led the land and made it a prosperous nation until the horrible, nasty people reinstated the king. It seems like such a
yeah.
weird vibe because it was the people that reinstated Charles II. You know, it's not like it was some like forced
Yeah, I mean,
takeover.
I'll be honest. I'm not an expert on the monarchy restoration, but I feel like at the very least, given that we're still living in the monarchy restoration, it's a weird tack to assume that your audience is going to be all in on
Exactly. Well, having
being
having
bad.
having seen Horrible Histories, Jamie, and listened to the Charles II song many times,
Yeah,
I know
he
that the
seemed very
people
fun and cool.
I know that he loved the people and the people loved him so much that they restored
Yes.
the English monarchy. And
Hmm.
he was the king that brought back partying as well. So you do have
Yes,
to think about that, you know.
that's true. It's very fun and horrible histories. When you think about it as a head of government, perhaps not a great sign.
Well, the king that brought back partying.
Yes.
I mean, I think that's pretty good.
Okay.
Living under
Uh,
Cromwell seemed pretty hellish.
well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, that's what we're saying. No one really, not no one. I'm sure there are people who did, but
Yeah.
Cromwell's not remembered as a good ruler.
No,
So it's weird
I get.
to
I
have.
mean, I guess what this film is talking about is the importance of a democratic parliament, and
Well, this was the other thing I was going to talk about because, like, obviously the sympathetic tack for Cromwell is he was getting rid of the king, he was installing
yeah.
democracy. But that's not what he wanted to do
No,
because
but
that was
what he
the
wanted to do
government
is
at the
kind of what
time.
ended up happening though, because that's what they say at the end. Is they say the king came back, but it was never the same again. And
Yeah,
Cromwell's whole thing throughout the film is that he doesn't necessarily want to get rid of the king. He just wants to get rid of all the power of the king, which is,
yeah.
I mean, a very very valid
But
opinion in
like,
my
but the thing is, like,
opinion.
democracy as we know it wasn't really like conceived of at that time. It just wasn't a thing people were thinking of.
Yeah,
So I'll be honest, I don't quite know the exact governmental system Cromwell believes in. I assume it was like benevolent
yeah. I mean, well,
dictatorship or something.
he did say
But
democracy, didn't he? Because then the king, I think,
in the
said
film,
something.
yes, but not in the
No,
film, but
obviously
not in
not the
real
same in
life.
real life. The king said something about democracy being a Greek
Yeah.
idea.
Well, that's the only way anyone would have heard of it because I was. This is completely unrelated, but I was reading about the French Revolution and Napoleon. And someone was asking, like,
Right.
they had this revolution for democracy. Like, why would they hand it over to Napoleon immediately?
Hmm.
And it was just like, well, people didn't really think of democracy as an option back then. They just assumed that you had to have like one person in charge, but that you needed to have a good person there. It was about like having a good king rather than a bad king, rather than
Yeah.
referring the system itself.
So
And I think, at least from what I've seen, Oliver Cromwell also was not a democracy boy.
no, he was he. Do you know he's kind of like Palpatine, you know?
Duncan, it's usually me who lowers the classiness of the podcast.
Because
So I'm glad you're doing it.
he believes in the democracy. He believes in the republic. Oh wait, no, that's not Palpatine. That's
That's Ben Kenobi.
who is also in this film. But not
Is
the
he?
same actor. Yeah, Alec Guinness is in the film.
Oh, Alec Guinness. Sorry, yeah.
Obi-Wan,
Ewan
Ewan McGregor is not in this film. Given that he
Yeah, Ewan
was
McGregor's the
not
one who yells
barred.
about it, so I was surprised. Yeah, it seemed like a weird note, but maybe there was like a baby at the end, and you immediately noticed, oh, that's a young Ewan
Ewan
McGregor.
McGregor was born in 1971, so
Present role,
he just missed out on
just
appearing.
missed the just missed the boat.
Oh, and this is interesting. So I've looked up Ewan McGregor, and it's got all his films, and the poster for Doctor Sleep is in French. Isn't that
Cool.
interesting? How Google.
Doctor, you know what isn't interesting? Doctor Sleep.
I've not seen it. Uh,
Neither have I.
no. Um,
Um,
fuck. What were we saying before that? Okay, so I've looked up what type of government was created by Oliver Cromwell after the Civil War. It just says a republic. He helped create a
yeah,
republic, but then he ruled as Lord Protector. I mean, the way the film presents it is that he wanted a full-on parliament, but then he realized that all the people that were in the parliament were arseholes that were just using it to get their own advantage. And
yeah.
it's yeah,
Well,
it's that thing of he's very happy for there to be one leader that does everything as long as it's him, and that fits perfectly to his
yeah.
ideas, which I feel is kind of not that weird. I feel like it's kind of a thing you
Well,
see a
it's
lot,
just
isn't it?
I think yeah, even watching this film, like not knowing the reality, it's pretty obvious from like moment one that this is a very polished up portrayal of Oliver
Yeah,
Cromwell.
absolutely.
He's got a lot more. He's big on the whole inspiring speeches. He's got his ideals, and he's
He
gonna
does. I was thinking
talk
he
for a long fucking time.
there's a lot of times when he's sitting, he'll like be sitting looking very moody or very angsty. Um,
Yeah,
I think it happens at least 3 times in the film where everyone's silent and there's like a close up of him just sitting all like angsty, and then he stands up and then just gives this like rousing speech. It gets everyone on his side, you know?
exactly. In The Simpsons when they do those like parodies of historical films, it's like that tone.
Yeah.
Um. So yeah, I think Richard Harris does decent enough in the role. He's very clearly, turning on the thespian.
Yeah.
So whether that's your tastes or not,
So
but
Richard
mine.
Harris was Dumbledore
Yes, for two
for two
movies and then he
films,
died.
and then he passed
Do you
away.
want to know a really sad thing, Duncan?
Yeah.
Richard Harris was originally not going to play Dumbledore, but then his granddaughter asked him, and he did it for her. But he said like he was really worried that he would only ever be known for Dumbledore, and everyone would ignore the rest of his work. And I'll be honest, that's the only thing I knew he did before watching
That is
this.
pretty. Yeah, that is pretty sad. But I mean, I
Hmm.
guess he. Yeah, he was only in it for 2 films. Maybe that's like the ideal way to do
Not by
it,
choice.
where like he made his granddaughter happy, but also he
Yeah.
didn't have to sit through 9 films.
I like him a lot more than Michael Gambon as Dumbledore. Although I can't imagine as Dumbledore doing so many of the action scenes, but I thought he had a good screen
How
presence. I
old
thought.
would he have been?
I think he died quite young because it was like medical issues.
Died. He was born in 1930 and died in 2002, so he was 72 when he died. That seems like
Okay, so that's like just young.
it is just young, but it feels like if you're making a long film series, that's quite old of an actor to cast.
I guess, but
But
how
also, I
old
mean,
is
not really,
Michael
not
Gambon?
really.
Yeah.
How old is
Well,
Michael?
I mean, because he has to play an old person,
Oh,
you know.
obviously, yeah. I'm not. I mean, I'm not.
Although actually, I guess no,
Michael
sorry,
Gambon is 79 now.
yeah, he's 10 years older than Richard Harris.
Yeah, 10 years
He's younger,
younger.
sorry.
Yeah, so I guess that's kind of what I'm thinking is you would
Yeah,
get someone that looks old, but not like
I
so old
suppose.
that they're likely to die. I
Although
don't
then
know.
again, when they were making the first Harry Potter film, they wouldn't have had any guarantee that they'd get to make more.
No, but they were probably assuming
Yeah,
that they would. But then again, I mean, if you look, Alan Rickman died at what 60 something,
yeah.
right? Or was he?
Anyone can die. He was young
He
when
was
he died.
70. So I guess, yeah.
Anyway, I hope you're all enjoying the Harry Potter
But yeah, so
cast.
I guess you don't really know. Um,
70. Mhm.
yeah. Okay. Right. Let's get
Shall we
back.
talk about Alec Guinness's performance? Because I might go on a controversial tack and say I didn't like it.
Alec
I
Guinness
thought
was as the king. I quite liked it. Um,
I thought his weird tack for the king, at least for a lot of the film, was as though he was just kind of tired and didn't really care.
yeah, it
Which
was. I feel like they kind of messed up how they did the king because they kind of presented him as being innocent of everything whilst also showing him do the exact things he's accused of. And I feel like you
yeah,
either have to make it that he doesn't actually do the things, he's sort of tricked into it, or you have to make
yeah.
him like actually bad. Whereas it kind of feels like I guess an element of it is actually it's
I
quite
know I've said this before on the podcast, and I don't want to come across as incredibly thick, but I feel it is another case of a character just being a little too nuanced for the film they're
that's
actually in.
that's exactly what
Because
I'm
everyone other than Alec Guinness is such a cartoon,
yeah.
and then he's just over there feeling emotions, and it doesn't really
That's
gel.
that's exactly what I was trying to say there. Yeah, you put it a lot better. Like he's on the one hand, you say it's really good that they showed him different sides of the character, and like you're not quite sure what his intentions are. But on the other hand, in a film like this, it's supposed to be so pro one side and like show him doing all these terrible things. It
Yeah,
feels a bit of a weird thing, especially since they don't show
yeah,
Cromwell doing bad things. If they showed Cromwell doing bad things and
exactly.
good things, and they showed the king doing bad things and good things, you could
Yeah.
say, "Oh, this is a hard
It,
war. It's hard to
it's a
decide
battle
who's
between
winning."
light and morally grey.
Exactly, but yeah,
It's
you're exactly. You have an entirely good character according to the film on one side, and then you have a character that you don't really know on the other side, and it just feels like if you're going to go that deep into
hmm.
characters and character traits, Cromwell has so much stuff that you could do that with. There's so many things with his actual real life
Yeah,
character that you
like
could pick out and put
because
in this
I'm
film.
exactly because as we were just saying earlier, it's weird how good Oliver Cromwell is portrayed in this
Exactly.
film. Like that is a clearly like conscious decision that is already weird, like within the ride of the rest of the films. The fact that like he also has King Charles being presented as a more nuanced character
Yeah.
when like you've got a character who you've de-nuanced as your lead.
Exactly.
And de-nuanced in the weirdest possible direction, because if you're going to de-nuance Cromwell, I think almost everyone would make him an outright villain rather than a hero.
Possibly, or I mean, yeah, exactly. The way to do it obviously is to show show the good morals that he has throughout the film, and then show him taking that too far. That's all they had to do,
Yeah.
because that
We can
that
do...
you can believe that that's what happened. That genuinely deep down he was a
Yeah.
good man, that believed in this thing, but then he let himself be
Yeah.
blinded by his religion and by his strong beliefs,
Yeah.
and that's all this film would have to show in order to have
Well,
two
like, I think
characters on each side that are grey.
depending on how, like, liberal you want to be with historical truth, you can, like, show that Cromwell was always a rotter, but so was King Charles, or you can show that, like, this is just a pointless cycle of violence, man. It's so horrible how this
Yeah.
keeps happening. Or you can show Cromwell getting slowly corrupted. or you can just have King Charles be an outright snarling villain, and
Yeah.
that'll be at least more entertaining.
Yeah.
There's
so
a lot of
much.
directions you can go with it, but this one's just strange.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But I
It's so
still
weird that they
have to
don't
say that I
acknowledge how
liked
weird
Alec Guinness.
Yeah, it's so weird how they don't acknowledge how bad Cromwell was. Like it's
Yeah.
just it's so. I realize part of it's just the modern context, particularly because like right now there's a lot of discussion about Cromwell in Ireland, but
Yeah.
it's so surreal to see because I've only ever known Cromwell considered either like neutral or bad.
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone be pro Cromwell in my life.
Well, now
It's strange.
know a whole
And now
film
I have.
production. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. But
$8 million film
as
production.
I was saying, I did like Alec Guinness, even though the role wasn't written necessarily the
I like
best.
Alec Guinness as an actor, I
I
should
thought
say.
he was good. Yeah.
I've seen him in Lawrence of Arabia, not just Star Wars.
I have not
So
seen
that's
Lawrence of
the
Arabia.
second most newbie. Oh, okay, I'll look a little better in comparison to you then.
I want to see it.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah,
seen.
it's
Oh, he
fine.
was in the Bridge of the River
Blackface.
Kwai. I've seen that. Actually,
Oh,
I've not
cool.
seen all of it. I was watching it on DVD, and then DVD cut out like an hour and a
Actually,
half.
you know what unites Richard Harris and Alec Guinness is
What?
that Alec Guinness hated Star Wars as well.
Oh, really? Oh, he was
Yeah.
in Doctor Zhivago.
He would have been, I think.
He was
Um,
also in Oliver Twist. Oh, from 1948. That's not the musical, then, is it? That's the.
not in the musical. Do you know who directed? You know what else the director of Oliver the Musical directed? I'll tell you because it's going to be.
Tell me. I feel like I do know, but tell me, and I'll see.
He he directed The Third Man as well.
Oh yeah, I did know that because we studied The Third Man, and I remember that. Yeah, he directed Oliver. It's pretty good. Carol Reed.
He's good
Yeah,
too.
I've studied
Carl
him.
Reed, who I thought was a woman until I looked him up and saw the picture. You know,
a woman making films in the 60s, Jamie. What? What are you like?
you know Agnes Varda, Duncan, you fool.
I know.
It's like
I'm joking.
your favorite film isn't even Cleo from 5 to 7. You fake
I hate
film.
that film. I've had to watch it twice, Jamie. For separate courses, I had to watch that film twice. I do not
One day
enjoy
I
it.
will watch it, and then I will, regardless of its actual quality, call it the greatest thing ever made.
Alec Guinness was also in Little Lord Fauntleroy, which is your nickname. We can now reveal that to the viewers, the listeners.
It's nice. That we get this little
This little
peek into my life
peek into Jamie's life.
as I live it.
Well, there you go. That's good. Yeah. So
Um,
Alec Guinness. Oh, Alec Guinness was in the Star Wars holiday special as well.
I mean, it would have been. Have you ever seen the Star Wars Holiday Special?
No. For some
It's-
reason, it's not on Disney Plus, Jamie. I have no idea
Yeah,
why.
strange. If you can find like even just clips of it, it is worth.
I've seen
just
clips of
taking-
it. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so we talked about 2 lead actors.
Timothy
Is there
Dalton.
any- Timothy Dalton is also in this. I know him as James Bond, which I'm sure he would also dislike.
I know him
Wouldn't
as
that
the guy from Hot Fuzz.
Oh, wait, what's he in Hot Fuzz?
It's this Simon Skinner, the slasher of Prices.
Oh my fucking god, he is! I
Is he?
genuinely did not notice.
Yeah.
No, you're completely right.
That's
I
the
just never noticed.
that's the thing. That's the thing I know him from. Know him from?
I've watched Hot Fuzz I think at least 3 times. I've never noticed that it was Timothy Dalton.
Really?
Even though like I'm looking at the picture and it's so obvious that
Yeah.
Timothy Dalton with a mustache would be Simon Skinner.
Yeah. No, that's him. I've not seen either of his Bond films.
License to Kill I think is my favorite Bond film.
Oh really?
actually.
Oh well, maybe I'll check it
I
out.
think Timothy Dalton's my favorite Bond actually. I
Really?
like him.
Okay. No, I see him.
Although actually, he was when I was younger. In my older age, I have developed a great love for Roger Moore. because
Right,
I think
of course.
it's
But Sean
funny.
Connery is obviously the best.
No.
Yes. So
Alright. I only stand old Sean Connery. Young Sean Connery does not. register.
sometimes you just have to give her a little slap. Sure, who's boss? He was
Japanese senpai.
he was also in Flash Gordon. Apparently.
Hmm.
Let me look up.
Hmm.
Let me see who. Oh, is he the bad guy? No, he's just some dude. I've not seen that whole film either. That's another film I've just seen part of.
Ah, he was going to be. He was going to play a main character in a Roman Polanski film, and the 2 men didn't get along,
Oh.
so he got fired.
Okay.
You know, good for Timothy.
So that's Timothy Dalton. He plays some prince guy, the posh one with the dog. Who
Although wait, this was after Roman Polanski had been a fugitive from the criminal justice system. So Timothy Dalton decided to do a film with him knowing he was a rapist, and then they didn't get along, so he left. which seems worse somehow than if he'd just gone along with it all along. You know?
Yeah, maybe he thought they would get along, and I don't know.
I thought I'd get along with the child rapist, but
Yeah,
then it just turned
but
out we just didn't click.
we just didn't have much in common. So Timothy Dalton plays the posh cunt. That's what I call his character,
Yeah. Prince Rupert.
Prince Rupert,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, I was gonna say the supporting cast in this film not super great, I'd say.
Yeah, I didn't really recognize any of them
Fine.
apart from those
But,
main
just
boys.
like I say, everyone's kind of cartoony in this. The
Yeah.
man with two walking canes in particular is a highlight.
Yeah, yeah. They go out their way to show that kind of thing, don't they?
Everyone is either outrageously posh or outrageously moral.
Yeah,
The two genders in this film.
yeah. And then they fight. They all fight.
Yeah.
I guess
The
that's what happened in real
scenes
life
looked really expensive.
to an
And
extent.
just want credit where it's due. I don't think they even look that nice, but
What
gee whiz,
what didn't look that nice?
the battle scenes, like
I quite
they
liked the
were
battle scenes. They were shot in
really
Spain
pretty.
apparently.
Yeah.
I quite liked them.
Large.
Yeah. The actors in this film, did you know this?
Mhm.
They had a lot of makeup on them so that they looked like the portraits of the people they were playing.
That sounds needless.
Because I have to be honest, I didn't really recognize most people that well.
I didn't. There were certain shots where I recognized Richard Harris, but on the other hand, and somewhere I didn't. But on the other hand, I only know him as being old. Alec Guinness, I immediately recognized, and I don't think I can't have been wearing that much makeup other than just the fake beard and mustache.
Let me look. Alec Guinness. Okay, I've got him normally. Get that in my head, and then Cromwell. No, he had a lot of makeup on, man. Definitely had a lot of
No.
makeup on.
We'll ask when we next see him.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he definitely did. So I find that quite an interesting thing because obviously portraits are not accurate in the first place. You know, I think it's
Also, not that well known in popular culture. Like,
well, no,
think of
not
what
not in
Cromwell looks
popular
like on
culture, but I feel like they're fairly well known. Like there's various famous portraits, aren't there, of people.
well, I suppose like that one portrait of Henry VIII, like every.
Exactly. So it's like for a film if you were
I
doing
suppose,
Henry
I
VIII
suppose
film,
I
you
should
could do that.
say I don't know any one particular image of either Cromwell or Charles of a portrait that is so ubiquitous in the popular culture that you would have to make them look like that. Other than making sure that Charles looks kind of like a spaniel.
No, but I'm looking up Oliver Cromwell here, and I have to say most of the portraits here do look the same. What they don't look like is the film, particularly.
Yeah.
The Charles I, actually looking at it, is pretty well done. Looking at portraits and then the thing from the film, but yeah, the Cromwell I don't really see what they've done there.
No, that looks not. He looks quite old in his portraits, which I'm sure is quite accurate, but also not what they wanted in
Yeah,
this.
that's true because he's supposed to be a
Yeah.
hero.
Yeah.
And Charles I, on the other hand, looks quite young in his portraits, and of course, he's quite old in the film.
Mm.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So minisode. I've talked about everything I really want to talk about in this film. I don't find it that interesting. You got any? Well, it's very expensive. That's my opinion.
Let me
You got
look at
anything to
my
say?
notes. It's quite a long film. Apparently, it was 3 hours.
Exactly.
It was 3 hours before they cut it down to 2 hours 20. So
And thank you. Jesus.
that's pretty serious.
The legal stuff in this film's quite interesting.
Yes,
suppose.
yes. I was gonna say that. I forgot to mention that. It is quite a lot of bits are shot like a legal drama, like 12 Angry Men or something like that.
Yeah.
Which I quite liked. I quite like when
Obviously.
you have these historical films that also feature an element like that, and it kind of takes on
Yeah.
parts of other films. You know what I mean? I kind of like that genre mixing because I think it's very easy to make a historical film that is just the same as all other historical films. Whereas I think it's quite nice to, if you've got a courtroom scene, to shoot it the way people expect a courtroom scene to be shot, rather than shoot it the way that historical films are shot. I think that makes it more interesting, and I think they did that.
I will actually say that one thing I did realize when watching this film is that I quite like the Stuart aesthetic. You know, I like the hats. I like the grey rooms. I like the weird floppy dogs.
Do you like the Puritan aesthetic or the royalist
Both.
aesthetic?
The Puritan aesthetic was the one that really stood out to me, and I was like, we should have more things that have this aesthetic.
Yeah,
Maybe are more interesting.
more
But
films
yeah,
that are like this.
more films,
Yeah.
more books, more TV shows, video games, anything. I
Oh, a
liked it.
video game set in this period would be quite interesting. I don't know what it would be.
Yeah, exactly.
So actually,
You
that's
know,
a good point.
if only
Something.
there was.
Go on.
If only there was a video game series about being a criminal in sort of the recent past, maybe sort of 1500s to noughties. You could be sort of secret person, a killer, perhaps some sort of gun for hire, and you could maybe have some sort of belief system, and you could sort of jump off tall buildings and stuff like that, such as the Houses of Parliament. Maybe you could do a nice little sequence where it was being blown up by Guy Fawkes. You know, just ideas.
So you want an Assassin's Creed set in this period? When
It'd be a shame if that series had maybe skipped over pretty much any interesting part of history to get to the American Revolution and French Revolutions. But, you know,
when did Guy Fawkes blow up? I feel like
that would have been
my knowledge of British history is
It's good within
fairly
parcels. It's
good in
just I
terms of
struggle to order the
individual.
parcels properly.
What was
Yeah.
that?
So it's very good in terms of like within each parcel. Like I know
Yes.
Tudor history decently well. It's just I keep forgetting the order that they all come in.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, so like I can say, oh yeah, I know who Cromwell was, I know what he did, but relating that to other stuff because I don't remember a lot of the names. I feel like a useful thing to do actually would be to know all the monarchs' names, in order,
Mhm.
and then you can very easily say, well, they did it to this monarch, therefore it is at this point. See, when was
Yeah.
Guy Fawkes? Because this
So the short period.
film's the
Short period.
1640s, right?
Yes. So I think this must have been after
Yeah, Guy
Fawkes.
Fawkes died in 1606.
Yeah. So this is the 1603 to 1704 was the Stuart era in general.
Oh, so Guy Fawkes was it
Guy Fawkes is somehow not
Was it James the First that he
James the First, wasn't it?
tried to kill?
Yeah, so this would be before
Is that
Charles
right?
I. 'Cause, paradoxically, James the First not Catholic enough.
Okay, wait, let me have a look here. Oh, this is going from fuck's sake. This doesn't start till 1665. So this Wikipedia starts with Anne in 1665, which I guess is that the favorite, yeah?
Oh yeah,
So then
it goes James the Sixth and First, Charles the First, Civil
Right.
War, Restoration Charles the Second,
yeah,
William and Mary, Queen Anne, and then that's the end.
and then it
Yes.
goes to yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, was
so
the
what?
I'm what am I being dumb? Huh. I thought that Scotland. No, that's too. I'm not saying it.
Okay.
Whoops.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so anyway,
I-
as I was saying, I find it quite hard to I feel like I watch a lot of these historical films and I know the timeline of that specific event, but then relating it to other events is something that I don't really have knowledge of. Maybe I
Yeah.
should get it. I should learn British history more, because obviously it's
Horrible
interesting.
Histories does have a song with all the kings and queens'
They
names
do,
in it.
but I just listen to I just listen
William, Henry, Richard, John.
I just listen to the Charles II song on loop. My name is
My name is.
Charles
is-
II.
This is the second.
I loved the
Okay.
people and the people loved me so much that they restored the British monarchy or English monarchy.
English
I guess.
monarchy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do
Okay.
you want to rate the film then?
No, I want to talk more about it.
It's a mini, so Duncan.
Parliament has not changed much since then, has it?
I think it's a different building.
Is it? Well, either way, it's still a bunch of people shouting at each other. It really feels not that
Yeah.
different. And
I'm sure you might know this cool fact because we probably learned it at the exact same time. But Houses of Parliament are unusual in that they're set up so that the seats are facing each other, which creates a more competitive atmosphere. Whereas if you look at a modern Parliament, they'll be done in a semicircle in order to create a cooperative atmosphere.
oh,
Did you know that?
I didn't know that. No. That's pretty
Okay, yeah.
cool. Um, the other thing I found was interesting was in terms of warfare. This is quite an interesting period,
mm,
because obviously you have swords and you have muskets and you have cavalry and you have cannons, and it
mm,
feels like the real mix between. I'm trying to think exactly when it was that sort of muskets became the norm for everything, um, but I always think I think it's quite easy to imagine medieval times when you had two armies with swords and stuff, and it's quite easy to imagine modern
mhm,
times or the world wars when it's guns versus guns and tanks and stuff. But I always think time periods like this where there's a sort of mix of different weaponry, I find quite interesting
mhm.
to see because you'd
Yeah.
have to think that'd be quite an interesting thing for tactics, like how to do because you see some of the tactics in this film where the cavalry gets like tricked to run into the pikes and stuff. And I think
Mhm.
it's quite an interesting thing. The battle, kind of cool.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I didn't like the battle.
What?
That's, that's my opinion.
I feel like the battle could have been bigger, more grand.
I thought it was too big.
Oh
So I
really?
realize it's not a coherent criticism, but there's something about the way that these battles are shot in these dramas in particular where it just irritates. I don't know. It's very unintimate.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I know what you mean. What about the Narnia battle? Do you like the Battle of Narnia?
what in the film The Chronicles of
Yeah.
Narnia? I haven't seen it.
Whatever.
No,
Oh.
I've only seen. I saw a stage musical version of
Oh.
Narnia, and that's
Well,
my
the
only
film
interaction
the
with
film
the
has
story.
an awesome battle in it. And
Mm.
whenever I think of a battle scene, that's the one that comes to my mind. And it's probably just because I watched that film a bunch when I was younger. But it's a
Very
pretty good
fair.
one. I maybe I should watch it again and sort of see if it still holds up to my high battle expectations nowadays. But it's a pretty cool
Good, good.
battle scene.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
and one other thing.
Yeah.
So you know how nowadays people talk about how um, films and stuff make people violent because it desensitizes them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then, in these days, people would go and watch mass executions and like cheer when the heads were held up and cheer when people were
Yeah.
hung
Yeah.
and stuff. Surely that's a lot more violent than seeing it in a film.
Okay, Mr. Ben Shapiro.
What?
Uh, I,
Do you know what I
I
mean?
think
Like
popular. Yeah, yeah. I think popular entertainment desensitizes us a bit.
what?
Because I think popular entertainment desensitizes us a little bit.
Yeah,
At
but
least
not
compared to
not
TV.
any more than like I feel like people
Well,
I
yeah.
feel
When
like
people
people
are saying
people
that, they're comparing it.
people naturally
They're
like to get that fix of violence and that fix of whatever, and I think it's better to get that in an artificial way than to go and watch someone get their head chopped off. Or
I don't think people naturally seek out violence. I think it can be presented. People like presentations that are empowering, and violence is an easy way to achieve that.
right.
I have looked up something.
So are
Oh,
you advocating for the removal of violence in games and TV and film?
no. Um, I like violence. I'm just noting that this is an effect that has been had upon my person.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with the argument that people can be desensitized through violent
Well, I think
entertainment.
they
I mean,
can, but I think that
you can argue whether or not it's a good, not a good thing. But you can argue whether it's actually harmful or
I
not.
think that
Or,
it's a lot less. You're a lot less likely to think it's normal if you know it's fake than if you're watching actual people get killed.
my long-standing policy on this thing is that I think the issue is more that violence is portrayed as a way to acquire power, as a thing that will make you powerful, that will make you cool, as it were. And that's not just film or video games or anything like that. That's all of culture
Yeah, I mean
for all.
that's historically true, isn't it?
And that is a problem with culture that we need to address, but that is one that requires a very
But
that frankly would never be achieved in any short time. I think that would be like a change that would need like hundreds of years to be established,
I
but
thought
would regardless be sweeping.
I thought you were a
Um,
fan of violent upheavals and violent revolutions and stuff, though.
I like violence. I'm not necessarily a fan of
But why are
violent
you saying
revolution.
that it shouldn't be a way to get power when you think it is?
I don't think it should be presented as a way to have personal power.
Right, but okay.
Okay, you watch Kill Bill, right? And then you're like,
Yeah.
hey, that's pretty cool. That person looks like they're having a fun old time. I wish that was me.
Well, from
Like,
Kill Bill,
I'm not,
I feel like
I'm not
I feel
blaming
like her
Kill Bill
life's presented as
specifically.
pretty awful.
I'm gonna be honest, Duncan. I haven't seen Kill Bill. I just chose that because I know there's a sword.
Right.
In
Well,
it.
Jamie, I would recommend that you stop doing this thing where you pick films that I have seen and you haven't, and then try and make an argument about it to prove your point
Just
when I've got a
okay.
counterpoint. Because I don't think it
Just
works very well for you when I say
okay.
I'm not
Look,
sure about that,
in
and you
film
say I
X,
don't
you
know,
see
I've
a
not
man
seen
with a
it.
gun. Okay. You watch John Wick. Say
I've not
right,
watched
John
John
Wick.
Wick,
Okay, John Wick.
but okay.
Quick synopsis: John Wick has a gun. He shoots a lot of people in it.
Yeah.
You know the plot of John Wick.
Okay.
And like you see him shooting his gun, and you're like, "Hey, that's pretty cool." And there's nothing wrong with John Wick in isolation. It's very much a film about how violence is inherently self-destructive.
Yeah.
You wouldn't look at it and say the presentation of violence in this film is good in a vacuum, but you see John Wick, you see Casino, you see Goodfellas, you see video games, you see music, you see TV. All of these things are telling you in this overwhelming way, even if it's subtle, even if they are objectively decrying violence, you still get presented constantly with this presentation that violence is empowering. You
Right.
are a weak person. You're beaten down by
This is true.
society. You're beaten down by your friends. You're beaten down by whatever forces there are in your.
I am.
You are consistently given these messages that violence is a way that for you to personally feel empowered, and I think
Right.
that is an issue.
Okay. I get what you mean.
But I don't think that's. I don't. Just to clarify, I don't think that that is a level that is culpable on the level of the individual. I think it is a problem with our culture as a whole.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Shall we rate the film?
yes, don't watch it.
I am gonna say. I'm gonna say watch if it's on, because I feel like it wasn't bad enough to actively say don't watch it, but I certainly wouldn't seek it out, unless you're
Yeah.
a really really big fan of Cromwell and you just want to sit with a hard on and be like, God, I
Why are
love
you a
being a
big fan?
Puritan.
Unless you are either a Puritan or B, really hate the Irish, I can't see why you would be a big fan of
No,
Cromwell.
exactly. See, I'm gonna say watch if it's on,
Uh,
but also
uh,
just watch
but
something
a
else.
tentative watch if it's on. Would I be correct in saying?
Yes, a tentative watch if it's on. Watch something else. But if
Yeah.
someone says they're watching it and you're like, I mean, for me, that's what watch if it's on means. It doesn't necessarily
Mm.
mean like you come across it and you don't change the channel. It's like
It's just
someone's
if you're
watching
watching
it.
it and the remote's on the other table and you
Yeah,
really can't be getting
you're
up,
ill.
then
You've
yeah,
got cold. You're stuck in your sofa with your duvet on, and the remote's on the outside of the room, and you think, "Fuck it, I'm gonna be in all day. I'll watch this film for 2 hours and 20 minutes."
yes,
I think
exactly. It will
it's I
not.
think it's entertaining enough. The battle scenes are not great, but they're not bad. And whilst it's presumably incredibly historically inaccurate, you still learn some
Oh
history.
yeah. I,
Some names and
Two
stuff.
thirds of the Wikipedia article is made up of historical
Yeah,
errors.
that is true. But you still you learn some names and stuff, and the what happened, and whether it happened this way or not is a completely different thing. Um, so okay, so that's the rating. Just quickly, it was directed by Ken Hughes. Do you know what else he made?
hmm I don't, but he said this was the best thing he's ever done, which I
Oh, really?
deeply true.
That's not true because he made Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, which is the best film ever made. So, have
I
you
haven't
seen that
seen it.
one, Jamie? What did
Nope.
you watch as a child?
Did I watch as a child?
Fucking anime.
Who's Heffalump movie
Jamie,
on repeat,
don't say Tigger.
which truly is the cinematic masterpiece.
Did you jump from like kids films to like adult films?
Um,
Did you just skip the period of like slightly older kids film through to like young teen film? Did you just like go straight
maybe
into adult, from baby to adult?
I don't know. I mean, I watched baby stuff, and then I watched stuff that my parents liked.
Yeah. See, I
And
didn't.
so something like Indiana Jones, which is like fun
Right.
for the whole family. It was
Yeah, well, to be fair,
period.
I watched Indiana Jones a lot and Jurassic
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Park and stuff.
But I wouldn't say there was any. I would say from the ages of 5 up, there weren't that many times when we were watching films specifically for me.
Okay.
Plus, also my younger sister who was like.
Yeah. No, well, yeah, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Narnia, all that kind of thing I watched a lot.
Mhm.
I'd love to see Narnia again. I was really disappointed by the sequel
Disney
or
film.
sequels. I can't
Oh,
remember if
sequel.
I've
Right.
seen more. Because the first one I had just seen so many times and it was just so like great. And I feel like the second one probably is good, but I just never.
I
I
think they're
didn't watch it when I was
making
at
a
that age. I watched it
TV
when I was
show.
older, and then it kind of lost its.
Yeah, there was a big gap between those
There
films.
was a big gap between the films, and I think even with the big gap, I still watched it even later than that gap would allow.
Mhm.
So like I was seriously a
Yeah.
long way after it. Um
Percy Jackson as well, which I read a lot as a youth.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, I
had
read
two
it.
films that I swear had at least a decade apart,
I
and
read
the
it,
it's
and then I watched the
well,
first film when I was probably just at like the oldest to watch that film, and then yeah, the other ones came out so much later. I
hmm.
think, if I remember correctly.
There's only two total.
Oh, I thought they were free.
No,
Anyway, they came out pretty far apart, right?
yeah. Like I say, I think close to a decade. I
Yeah,
think.
because I definitely remember reading the book, then like watching the film at an age for the film, and then yeah, not. I don't know if I've even seen the second one because I was just so.
Uh,
I feel like it. On the one hand, it makes sense to revitalize a kids franchise that much later because you have a whole new audience. But at the same time, it kind of feels like a lot of those films can be based on nostalgia. Maybe they would be better.
Supposedly it was released in 2013, which I do not remember happening. Like there was apparently only a 3 year gap.
All right.
I
Well, but even
genuinely
then, I
thought
think a
it.
3 year gap's enough at that kind of age range.
Well, I
Maybe.
mean, the thing with like books like that is like obviously with most young adult fiction, you're only a young adult for so long. I think maybe it's not the same experience for you, but I think for most people, it's like they find a series which they like at like 11, and then they get like super duper into that series. They read all of them like in a week,
Yeah.
and like that's their thing. And then you get. I feel like you got. Maybe it's just because they're easier to read because they're for younger people. But I feel like I got through books a lot quicker at that age.
Definitely. That I feel like that was. I feel like a lot of those books are pretty well written, and
But they're very easy to
they know
read as
their
well.
audience. That's what I mean. Well written is in they know their audience, and
Yeah.
I feel like that works really well. There's definitely an odd gap in literature where you're too old for young adult, but adult books are like serious stuff, and I think that's where most people slow down reading.
Well, the
Definitely
thing is
myself
that
included.
I think easy reading for adults is overwhelmingly mysteries, and I'm just not that interested.
Yeah.
Or true
Or
crime, and then
yeah,
is that or like actual literature, which requires effort.
exactly.
And
Because
that's
I'm
probably why I read
thinking
so
I
much
used to
fantasy.
read all the time young adult stuff.
Hmm.
I didn't read at all, and only in the last few years have I got back into reading books, and now it's
Yeah,
adult books.
I tried to read, and I'm really quite bad at
Oh,
it.
I
I've read
don't do it
in
much.
the last 6 months.
I don't want anyone thinking that I'm a fucking nerd. Although I've read quite a lot in lockdown, I guess, but still
See,
nothing
I
compared
was
to people
hoping
that
to do
actually
that.
read.
I brought I think 6 books with me. Where I am right now, I'm almost I'm going to go back, and I read a book and a half total.
What in the last week and a bit?
Last 2 weeks, except the book that I read, quote unquote, I only had 50 pages of. Like, I've read 150 pages
Right.
over the course of 2 weeks.
I read The War of the Worlds in like the last week and a bit, 2 weeks maybe,
Yeah.
which is not a long book, but still that's like a full book compared
So,
to.
yeah,
But
you're gonna watch the
books are so
Steve. You
different.
just watch.
Books are so different in length as well. Like
Well, I feel the key to getting through books is to develop a habit where you read a chapter or two every night,
yeah,
and I just have never done
well,
that.
that's what
Yeah.
I try to do. It kind of depends what I'm up to. If I'm able to, if I'm in the mindset, that's what I do. I read a chapter or two every night, and it means that
I
I can
read.
shut down a lot
I watch
easier.
anime before I go to bed every night. I'm sorry, but that's what my before bedtime is used
Yeah,
for.
well, I tend to watch YouTube videos, but then I find it a lot harder to get to sleep. Whereas if I
Well,
just,
they always say that about the blue light, right?
yeah, exactly. It is true. I think a lot of stuff is made up about looking at screens and watching YouTube videos and stuff, but
Mm.
there's definitely a truth to just before bed you're better reading and just not looking at screens.
Probably.
Like what I do now is I try not to look at a screen and I look at screens up until I brush my teeth and like I
Mm.
read as I brush my teeth and then that's me for the rest of the night. And then that means like
Mm.
the whole period of between brushing my teeth, going into bed, and going to sleep, I'm just reading, and I feel like it's
Yeah.
better. Whereas what I usually do is I have a video on while I brush my teeth, and then I like take my laptop into bed and keep watching then.
Mm.
And then you for one you end up on like the YouTube train of clicking through videos, and also you're then like your brain's so active. I feel like.
No. I feel what I should buy is one of those fucking 90s ass clip-on lights that you clip onto the
Oh yeah,
laptop.
I've got one of those.
Maybe
I don't know where it is. I
yeah.
think it's broken, but yeah.
If you feel like giving me a very late birthday present, there you
I've
go.
got your manga still, Jamie.
Oh yeah, of course.
But I'm going away.
Uh,
I'm going away just as you're coming back, so we'll have to. But
graceful.
we'll both be
I
here.
yeah.
We'll both be here
I,
for
I
a
am
while.
hoping to see you like 2 weeks from now.
Yeah,
But
for sure. I'll remind me to bring your manga because it's in Japanese. You
hello.
won't be able to read it.
Well, that's what I wanted.
I know that's what you
I
wanted. That's the reason I got you it. But I just
Hmm.
you don't.
I
It's not.
appreciate
You don't actually have to be excited to get it. I guess.
I'm
as much.
intensely curious about your choice. But
I can't remember what I picked. You'll see. I picked a
anyway.
fairly random one, because I knew you wouldn't read it.
Anyway,
So
if
I was
we
like,
if we end this podcast in the next 40 seconds, we will have finished it exactly 8 minutes less time than a regular episode.
should we
So,
not
Shall we end the mini-sode now?
should we not push up to an hour and then?
No, because then it's not going to be a mini episode.
No, it's
Duncan.
not. It doesn't have to be a mini episode. Ken Hughes also directed
No.
1967's Casino Royale.
No.
Ken Hughes, Jamie.
Notes for this.
Ken
I don't have
Hughes.
time to make notes for this episode, so there's no title. The only title can be mini-sode.
No, the title
all you do.
the title is I married you as a king and a man. Do not beseech you me on either aspect. No, that's not the title. I wrote down a few
Your
quotes though.
titles are worse than mine. I'm sorry. You don't have to
IMDb
guess.
his quotes. Jamie, we need to get up to an hour. We can
No.
we cannot do a mini episode. The people want an hour.
Fine.
Jamie, we're not doing an
Um,
episode next week, and all our fans
Okay.
are gonna be disappointed.
Um,
They use the word
I'm
beseech
gonna
a lot in this film.
fucking miss all my deadlines.
That's fine. They use the word beseech a lot in this film.
They did use the word beseech. What's going on with me?
What have you been up to?
I played a game called Iconoclast. We talk about video games sometimes on this,
We do.
as in every week.
Yeah.
Iconoclast is a Metroidvania. It is about theocracy. The story is very good, I thought. I think it's the sort of story that would really click with someone else. You know, you sometimes steal that where you're like, this is a really good story, and I bet it would mean a lot to a certain person, but that certain person isn't quite me. But I can still kind of appreciate that this is a really important story. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So it was one of those. It was very well told. As a Metroidvania, I found it kind of weird because it's a very linear story, so it has a very linear type of gameplay, which is very weird for a Metroidvania.
That's not
I
what
sort
they.
of wonder why the fuck it was a Metroidvania, because it doesn't really pay off. So the actual gameplay is kind of fun moment to moment. The boss fights are pretty cool, but I couldn't help but feel the sting of lost potential.
Understood. I
I also played Donkey Kong Country because it was available for free on the Nintendo Switch Online thing.
really.
Donkey Kong Country is an SNES game from 1994, which is actually British. So there you go, supporting the homeland.
Cromwell would
Donkey
be
Kong,
proud.
voiced by a Liverpudlian, if anyone's curious.
Liverpool. What? How do they speak in Liverpool? Is that the Cannacoch guys?
Yeah,
Is that Liverpool?
maybe.
What the Cannacoch? Is that?
Yeah.
Wait.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. Wait. I'm gonna look at the voice actor for Donkey Kong while I share my Donkey Kong opinions. Donkey Kong Country is quite fun, but it's got a very weird system because you die as soon as you take damage, and you're only given 2 chances, which you think would be like Mario because it's kind of the same, but it's not. It feels much harsher. I don't quite know why. Otherwise, it's a very fun game.
Is it Scouse that they're like Cannacoch?
Oh fuck no! It's a Yorkshire. It's a Yorkshireman. Sorry, I apologize.
What's the Yorkshireman? Oh, it does it.
If Grant Kirkhope listens to this. Oh fuck no! Do
What?
you know where he was born?
Where?
He was born in Edinburgh.
Oh, awesome.
But I think
So he
I can't. Yeah, he grew up in Yorkshire, which makes sense.
so he
He's
doesn't
not-
talk about the Cannacoch very often.
No. I feel like something mildly notable happened to me over the last week, and I was like, if I have 30 seconds, I'll mention this in the podcast.
You've got more than
I don't
30
remember what it
seconds, brother. You got 5 minutes
was.
to
How
fill in.
much time did I take? Ah, shit.
You've You're talking. Why are you talking fast? If you're trying to take up time, why are you talking fast?
I don't know. I feel the clock's on, even if the clock is me, and I'm
Okay.
supposed to be racing against something.
So,
Uh,
um, I
mhm.
finished City Skylines, if you can say that. I
Yeah.
built the city. I bought all nine. Unlocked all 9 bits of land. Like my population got to 60,000, which is like the you've won thing. I could keep
Mhm.
playing, but I'm not. Um, I
Good.
started a sandbox game, and then remembered that I
Mhm.
do not like sandbox in City Skylines because it's just kind of boring
Okay.
not having the challenge. Um,
That's
I
fair.
really wanted to make like a giant city. I installed a mod that you can like unlock all the
Mhm.
parts, all 81 squares instead of 9. And
Yeah.
then I started building, and then I was like, nah. So
Mhm.
that's what's going on with me. So currently, I'm not playing any games really, which is good because I'm about to leave for a week. So
Good.
it's probably good that I'm not addicted to anything right now. And then I'll have
That's
to
fair.
I'll have to find something new when I get back.
Over the next week, I think I'm going to start playing the Bleeding Witcher because I'll finally have time. So you can look forward to that on the next podcast.
Nice.
Maybe I'll have opinions about it.
And we're
I
gonna
already played it once a year ago, and I thought it was solidly okay.
and you and I are gonna try the Escapist 2, aren't we?
Yeah, we're going to try as soon as they fix the
Yeah, the
multiplayer.
multiplayer was broken. It was free on the Epic Store, and then
Exactly.
yeah, Jamie and I
Mm.
tried it and it didn't work. So that's that.
Mm.
Um,
Mm. I've been watching clips of Would I Lie to You on YouTube a lot recently.
yeah. So you said
I on
on
shows.
the Wilty Nope channel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very well run, even though it
it
is clearly completely illegal.
is so well
Um,
run and like so well put together. I wonder if the BBC just lets it stay because it
you know,
promotes their
because
program
like,
so well. You know what I mean?
well, I still the thing is that like, panel shows, you're not gonna make much money from DVD sales, right?
Yeah,
Because they're kind of one and done.
yeah,
Because like Channel 4, as soon as Big Fat Quiz of the Year is finished, it gets put up on YouTube, and they don't do anything about it.
yeah,
Like you can watch every full episode of Big Fat Quiz uploaded on the day it finished for YouTube for free.
yeah.
It isn't just when it comes to panel shows, people just don't really care.
And
Or maybe
the other thing
it's
is Wilty Nope. It's not like they're just uploading. Um, Would I Lie to You? Series 5, Episode 1 dot
no,
MP4,
but
and then
that Mitchell and Mac collection does. Uh,
exactly. They're actually
that famous comedic duo.
adding to it, and it looks like they put subtitles on all their videos. It's got subtitles below it, so they
No, like this guy, he loves Would I Lie to You.
yeah.
It's clearly his entire life,
To
and
be
you know,
fair,
good
it's a
for
pretty
him.
good show, and yeah, it's a
Yeah,
good
and he
channel.
comes on. He always has like weird puns. Like I'm looking at my YouTube Rex right now, and it's got a whimsical roll Acaster, and that's James Acaster on Would I Lie to You,
Yeah,
and there's
and
on
and
to Happiness, and that's Rod Gilbert.
he's good.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm good. Oh, but he's not uploaded for 4 months. Is that because Wilty's not been on?
Probably,
Yeah,
or maybe maybe the BBC protected their intellectual property the only way they could.
maybe. So this, so this week we're shouting out Wilty Nope as our channel of the
Yeah,
week.
just keep on the good fight, my man. Get banned. It's still kind of your fault, but we appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah, he could get banned, couldn't he?
Hmm.
Um, what else has been going on with
Uh,
me? Not much.
I, w- I watched a nice YouTube essay by H Bomber Guy on the series Ruby.
Right.
It's only for Patreons right now, but I thought it was pretty good.
Are you a
Although
patron?
I wouldn't say up to his usual
Are you a
standard.
patron
But I'm a patron,
of
yeah.
someone?
He,
Of who?
me, yeah, of H Bomber Guy and 2 other people.
So you pay? Wait, you pay money to watch the videos?
It's more to support them. It's $2 a month. It's not bankrupting me.
Why has Legal Eagle done a video on H Bomber Guy?
Oh, because they collaborated and they were talking about defamation.
Oh, I like Legal Eagle. He's a good lad.
He's fine. Yeah.
I know you're a lawyer, so you probably
Yeah, I've watched them. But yeah, I thought I usually find H. Bomber Guy's essays quite insightful. I thought the one on Ruby was a bit surface level, honestly.
right.
and it's also 2 hours and 20 minutes long, and it's his only upload for the last 7 months. So I was kind of expecting something more.
More. And wait, so you
Mhm.
pay whoa, you pay $2 a month, and he's not uploaded for 7 months.
Yes.
So you've paid you paid $14 for one video that he's uploading anyway.
Yeah. Well, you don't really. That's not really what Patreon's about, Duncan. It's not
Well,
a
I know, but if he's not making content, then
transaction.
surely.
Well, it's not that he's being lazy. He's still making it. He's just taking your time.
But
You
seven
know.
months, Jamie.
I don't.
It really
You
sounds
don't.
like you're getting robbed.
But it's not like you're putting on money and you're just going one video,
I
please.
know, but 7 months off. Surely that's like
It's not 7 months off. It was 7 months creating this video
But
and others.
you said it was not good enough for 7 months. People
I
people make
thought it was a little disappointing,
people make
but
feature films in 7 months, Jamie.
well, yeah, but 2 hours and 20 minutes is as long as a feature film.
Oh, it was a 2 hour 20 minute video. You didn't say
Yeah,
that.
I did say that. I feel so embarrassed when you're editing this episode, Duncan.
Oh, Jamie, I've thought I don't listen to them anymore. I just I
No
just
wonder they're full of
I
audio
just fix the
errors.
volume at random points and check that the start and end lines up, and then just upload them. I mean, I shouldn't
Great.
admit that, but yeah.
All right. On that note,
On that
the mini
bombshell,
will end here.
goodbye.
Good night,
If you
everyone.
notice any editing mistakes in any of our videos, send an email to I don't give a fuck at gmail.com.
Top quality,
Don't
lads.
do that. I'm
Bye.
sorry. Yeah, this is fun. It's good. I do edit it, but I don't listen through the whole thing anymore very often. So yeah.
Bye.
Bye.